distribution, low density, wide-ranging, very almost nomadic animals sometimes, so we need to work across the whole entire country, which of course is a big challenge. Now, we have a lot of wildlife conservation threats in Botswana. For a long time, you've got the wildlife people and the agriculture people, and they just weren't seeing things on the same page whatsoever. In the 1970s, Botswana lost about 70% of its migratory antelope herds due to human expansion into the Kalahari. And this happened because the EU subsidized Botswana in the 1970s to have a lot of beef production. It was felt that before diamonds were actually found, that beef was going to be the best income generator for Botswana. So in these Kalahari pasture lands, which had only ever been used traditionally as seasonal pastures, they now sunk deep boreholes so that you could bring up the underground water and use it all year round. They put up veterinary cordon fences, which stopped the migratory routes of a lot of the wild populations, and we lost large numbers of animals. So we had increasing cattle herds, overgrazing of the rangelands, and at the same time also a loss of the traditional culture and tribal resource ownership, as the natural resources were centralized and put into the hands of the government. So people really saw cattle and livestock as theirs and the wildlife as the government's concern. And also, even though we had 21% of the country dedicated as protected areas, it was not enough to conserve adequate populations of all of these species, because semi-arid savanna species require migration and they need movement. And animals such as cheetahs and wild dogs have huge home ranges, 1,500 square kilometers for some of them. So we need to work outside protected areas, working with the communities, and make sure that coexistence is possible. So the cheetah is an ideal species for the Kalahari conservation. If we can conserve cheetahs, we can conserve the Kalahari. They need more than the protected areas. They need huge areas, as I mentioned before. They can be extremely mobile. Sometimes the males will be completely nomadic, and they have very large home ranges. And they're also an indicator species, as Colleen mentioned with the lions. If they can conserve lions, they can conserve Nyasa. If we can conserve cheetahs, we can conserve the Kalahari and all of the animals that are dependent on this incredible ecosystem and the people's culture that live within. And of course, cheetahs can get people excited. They're beautiful, they're a charismatic endangered species, the fastest land animal on Earth, and they can really change hearts and minds. So we want to conserve this incredible, incredible landscape, the habitats, the trees, the antelopes, the predators. And by focusing on sort of looking at cheetahs as the indicator species, we can